I put my name alone on the refinanced mortgage after learning my husband had been telling his parents the house was technically his. So we've been married for 7 years and we own a house together, or at least I thought we did. We bought it 4 years ago. I had the better credit score, so the original mortgage went through primarily on my application. We both put money in for the down payment, but honestly most of it came from savings I'd had before we met. Marcus contributed about a third of it. We've both been paying the mortgage together since then, so in my head it was always just ours. That's how I thought about it. Last October, his parents flew in to visit for about 2 weeks. His mom Sandra is fine, but his dad Reeve has always been a little weird with me. Like he'll ask Marcus questions about our finances directly, as if I'm not sitting right there. I didn't think much of it at the time. The thing that started all of this was actually kind of stupid. Sandra wanted to see photos from when we first moved in, so Marcus pulled up this old album on his laptop and they were going through it at the kitchen table. I was making dinner. I wasn't really listening until I caught a piece of what Marcus was telling them. He was pointing at a photo of the front of the house and said something like, "Yeah, it's a good size lot. I got lucky finding it." Not we. I actually found that house. I spent 4 months on Zillow. I was the one who dragged us to 14 open houses. Marcus came to 3 of them and complained about parking at 2. I let it go. Figured it was just the way he was talking, like informal shorthand or whatever. Then the Wednesday before they left, I came home from work a little early. Marcus and Reeve were on the back porch with beers. I didn't go out right away. I was changing out of my work clothes and the window was cracked and I could hear them. Reeve asked something about the property value, whether Marcus had gotten an appraisal recently. And Marcus said yeah, he'd looked into it. It was up about 60 grand from what he paid. Then Reeve asked what would happen to the house if, and he paused, if things ever didn't work out. And Marcus said, technically it's mine. Her name is on the mortgage too, but I'm the one who really drove this. I'd be fine. I stood there in my socks holding one of my shoes. I didn't go outside. I finished getting changed and I went to the kitchen and I made dinner and I smiled through the rest of that visit and I didn't say a word. Not because I was being calculating or whatever. I just needed to think. I called my sister Donna that weekend after they left, told her what I heard. She asked me one question. She said, "Do you think he actually believes that or is he performing for his dad?" And I thought about it for a while. And I think honestly it's both. I think he believes some version of it. I think somewhere in his head he's quietly decided this is more his than mine. I went back through everything. The original mortgage documents, the down payment records, the deed. My name is on the deed. We're joint tenants. So it's not like he has some legal argument. He was just saying it, building a little private story for himself. We'd been talking about refinancing for a few months anyway because the rate we locked in was higher than what's available now. Marcus actually brought it up first. He kept saying we should really look into it, that we'd save a couple hundred a month. So I looked into it. When I called the lender, I asked what would happen if only one borrower wanted to refinance. If we could just go through one person's income and credit. She explained that yes, if one person qualifies on their own, they can refinance into their name alone and remove the other borrower. I asked what my numbers looked like. She said I'd qualify easily. I didn't tell Marcus any of that. What I told him was that I'd started looking into the refi and I was handling it and I'd let him know when I had more details. He seemed relieved, honestly. He hates paperwork. I spent about 6 weeks on it, went through the whole process. There's a moment when you have to specify the borrowers and I just put my name. Only my name. It felt very calm. The notary came to the house on a Thursday when Marcus was at work. I was the sole borrower on the new mortgage. My name only on the loan. Still joint on the deed, so it's still technically both of ours legally, but the financial responsibility is mine now. The bank doesn't care about him anymore. Marcus found out because the new mortgage statement came in the mail. He opened it before I got home. He was standing in the kitchen holding it when I walked in at 6 p.m. and his face was doing something I hadn't seen before. He said, "This only has your name on it." I said, "Yeah, I qualified on my own, so I went that route." He said, "You didn't tell me you were taking me off." I said, "You're not on the deed any differently than you were before. You still own half the house." He said, "That's not the point." I looked at him and I said, what is the point, do you think?" He didn't answer that. He put the statement down and walked to the other room. I heard him on the phone about an hour later talking to Reeve. His voice was low, but I caught one part. He said, "It's complicated now. She made some changes. His parents haven't been back since."